most of you will know by now, I do love my running, but this next lady is truly phenomenal. Not only does she have the most amazing running pedigree, but she turned her passion into a business and is a truly wonderful entrepreneur. Nikki from Fancy Activewear, I am so pleased to finally meet you.
It's lovely to meet you too, Emily.
Now, before we get into the brand itself, I want to know a little bit more about you, Nikki. You know, because I heard that you wasn't into this at the start. You was a nurse. Is that correct?
I was. I trained as a nurse in South Africa because my parents were living in Swaziland in southern Africa. And the area I was actually nursing in has a very famous marathon called the Comrades Marathon, which is the biggest road ultra in the world. And I had zero interest in running at all. But I eventually moved over to England, did my midwifery training, and went over on holiday to see my dad and my stepmother. And my stepmother happened to be doing a training marathon for the Comrades. And I said to my dad in a very off-the-cuff remark, "Oh, I bet I could run a marathon." And he said, "I bet you couldn't." Well, that was red rag to a bull with me.
Yep.
So he bet me 100 rand at the time, which was worth now about £5. And I got back to England, entered the London Marathon and thought I better start training. And that's how it started.
And that is literally the running bug, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. Well, I say the running bug. I did manage to complete the London just almost a year to the day of starting running, and I didn't run again for a couple of years because I'd ticked the box. My dad never paid the 100 rand wager, but I started putting some weight on, so I thought it was time to pull out the running shoes and do another marathon. And it went on from there.
But you obviously had a love for nursing and obviously midwifery and everything as well. When was the turning point that you decided, hey, I want to do something that incorporates my passion?
So I went from midwifery actually into the pharmaceutical industry, and I was working primarily in oncology sales. Still, sort of my nursing background playing a massive part, and I love people and I love helping people. And I think that comes from having trained as a nurse. I've been running in something called a skort for around 20 years, which is a skirt with built-in shorts. I find when you've got chunky thighs, it hides a multitude of sins. I was suffering from fibroids, so my periods were really, really heavy. And of course, if you're out on the trails and you have a leak and you're wearing leggings or something, it ain't going to look good. So a skort can hide a multitude of sins. And we found as well that older ladies, when they have problems with weak bladders, again, if they have a leak or if they pee themselves, a skirt can hide a lot of things. So I loved my skorts and I was struggling to find them. There was one company I found in the UK that was selling them, but they were for skinny minis, and I've got chunky thighs and a big fat bum, and they were just not good for me. And then I found a company in America. I found them when I was at the New York Marathon Expo. Again, they were beautiful, they were colourful, but they were very short. And I just made an off-the-cuff remark to Alf one day, I'm going to start my own business and we're going to make colourful skorts. And he said, let's do it. And we went and saw a sportswear designer, UK based, and the rest is history.
That must have taken a great leap of faith though, because to just go from one thing to another and, think, well, I can do this. You must have something inside you, a real good confidence or something to be able to go from doing midwifery, having that safety of a job and then thinking, hang on, I'm going to do this. Was there a transition period over?
Yes, there was. So it was Alf really who was the backbone behind this. He said he believed in me. He said I could do it. He funded it. So he gave me the money to do it. The sportswear designer was really good. He actually had his own cycling brand as well. And he said, you can do this. My friend is our designer who does all our beautiful patterns. So we know we have beautiful patterns out there to show off. And I continued in the pharmaceutical industry, I think, for 8 or 9 months before Flanci actually took off, and it became untenable to work in corporate and try and manage Flanci out of the back garden shed together. So it was time to give up corporate and do this full time.
I think that's lovely that you started this from home, because there are many people out there with a passion, whether it be this or some other thing, and to be able to think that, you can take it from that passion project to actually it's a tangible product. If anybody out there is thinking of doing the same, what bit of advice would you give to them?
Do it, but go in with your eyes wide open. It's difficult. Getting your name out there is difficult. You need finances behind you and you need a good product. I'm not very good on social media. I'm 61 years old and a bit of a social media dinosaur. My IT skills are completely nil, so we had to take on a company to build our website. We took on business coaches to direct us because, having worked in pharmaceutical and Alfie had worked in the scaffolding business, yes, we had a business background, but that is very different to running your own business. You are the master of everything, right from product design, what's going to sell, what isn't, managing staff, managing finances, working with factories, working with designers. It's very, very hard work, but it's very, very rewarding.
One thing I love about your products is they are bold. Do you think that's what sets you apart from many other sportswear brands out there?
I think so. I mean, every major sportswear brands, the big ones that you've all heard of with little ticks and little 3 lines, they have fantastic ranges, but everything is black. And I've never met anyone who shouted at somebody at a race and said, "Oh my God, I love your black leggings." It doesn't happen. But put something bold and bright on, and people are drawn to it. They will compliment you on what you're wearing. I love your leggings, and regardless of whether you're large or small, I think the size of you disappears because people are more taken with the lovely colours that you're wearing. The other thing is that we use our own designer, Jan Olive, a very talented product artist, and every design is completely bespoke to us. There are other companies out there that do colourful kits, but most of them buy their patterns off of something like Shutterstock. So they're stock patterns. So you see the same patterns popping up everywhere, whereas ours are absolutely for us and us alone.
Because I am loving, I know you've brought some samples in here to show me. I actually love my flancy leggings. I call them my flancy pants. And I love them, but I love all the vibrance. But these, you've got the ones that you've been showing at Crufts with all the little doggy bones and things on. And then, of course, ones over there that I like for the London Marathon and the Manchester Marathon with all the scenes on there.
Yes.
I mean, that takes some imagination.
Jan is amazing. Magic Jan. I give her a brief on what I want, and she sits at her drawing board and she comes up with these amazing ideas, runs them past me, and 99.9% of the time I say, I love it. I mean, I'm not an artist, she is, and she's really creative. She's very creative.
Oh, most definitely, because this is the nice thing as well. I mean, I know you've been to Crufts and been exhibiting there. I think as well, although you do running, it would be fair to say that you just want everybody to get out there and be bright, be bold, and enjoy life, even if you're walking the dog or anything. Is that correct?
It is correct. And actually, one of our mottos is everybody out there. And it's all about encouraging people, regardless of age, sex, size, to get out there, put some activewear on and be active. We've got customers who range from 2XS right up to 4XL, and our product sizing range shows that. We do a kids range as well. And we've got people who wear our skirts for golf, tennis, badminton, pickleball, paddle. Paddleboarding the skirts are very popular for paddleboarding because being activewear, if you fall in the river, which I do a lot, it dries super quick in the sun. The leggings again, runners, walkers. We make a range for a Nordic walking group called Walks. They're popular with them. And basically people who do canicross, dog agility. I mean, it's activewear. So it's just about putting on something that's comfortable, sitting in the garden.
I was going to say, and also when I'm in my office at home, I need to just be a little bit comfy.
Exactly.
They're really good for that.
Exactly.
How about sustainability? Because this is a big thing. How is your brand taking on the sustainable challenge?
Right. So our product is not bamboo. It is made from polyester, which a lot of the green aficionados will probably turn their noses up. But the majority of sportswear is polyester because that's what makes it breathable. We try and have a very good quality product that is going to last you a long time so that you're not wearing it for a few months and then having to bin it. All of our packaging is now recyclable, and the packaging that we post out we either use cardboard boxes or sustainable sugarcane plastic. So we are trying to go down the green route as much as we possibly can.
I think that's really hard though, isn't it? When you go from one thing and then all of a sudden the buzzword is sustainability, and trying to soften that blow as a business as well, because it's not something you can just change overnight, is it?
Exactly. We have had some samples that were made out of recycled fishing nets, But sadly, they were lovely and soft to wear, but when you stretched them, they did show through white. And so we call that not being very squat proof, which obviously if people are using this in the gym, they want squat proof products. So we are looking at becoming more sustainable. For the moment, I'm afraid it is polyester.
I think as well, we need to touch on your running pedigree. I said from the start, it is quite phenomenal. Go on, Nikki, just tell people some of the achievements you have done in running.
Well, to me, I'm just normal. I think it's probably
We're
because
not normal. Runners are not normal, Nikki.
A lot of my friends are runners, and some of them are absolutely phenomenal runners. I'm a mid to back of pack runner. I'm there to laugh, take photographs, and all about encouraging people to try and finish whatever event they're doing. I also have a way of encouraging people who've only ever done, say, a 5 or 10K into pushing themselves to do ultramarathons and multi-day events. People always say, don't go talk to Nikki because you'll sign up for a race that is way beyond your capabilities. And of course, they do sign up and they do finish. So yeah, I started, as you know from earlier, I did start running as a bet, and I just gradually continued to run. I saw a documentary on Channel 4 a few years ago about the Marathon des Sables, which is a marathon of the sands in the Sahara. It's a 150-mile self-supported race, and the documentary was amazing. And I thought, oh, well, that looks fun, never having done anything like that in my life. Anyway, the Monday after the weekend, when I saw the program, I contacted the organizers and decided to sign up. There was a 2-year wait list, but I got on the wait list, and I thought I better start training for this crazy thing. And I started doing multi-day ultramarathons in training. I did the Marathon des Sables. My feet were a total mess, and I was in the back 50, but I got that medal. And it all went on from there, really. That's when my running really did start picking up. I don't win anything. I occasionally win my age group now in parkrun because I'm old. But I continue to do my ultras, and I absolutely love them. I've done, I think, about 147, 148 marathons and ultras, and over half of them have been on trail. When you get to my age, the knees and the hips don't like tarmac. No. So I veer towards trail, which is so much more relaxed and so much more fun as well.
I think trail as well gets you out in nature, and you see things and experience things that other people just can't imagine sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. We did an ultra marathon, multi-day ultra in New Zealand. Alfie was actually one of the volunteer marshals on that race. And it was on a lot of private farmland and on areas of the mountains that the general public weren't allowed. And it was phenomenal. We just saw the most beautiful things. And we did one in America called the Grand to Grand Ultra, which started at the rim of the Grand Canyon. And again, the part of the canyon that we were on was private farmland. So it was just us competitors and us marshals sat there for 24 hours with this most stunning view that no one in the world would have access to. And running just takes you to the most beautiful places.
And it all started, you see, with a bet.
I know, crazy, isn't it? Now look at me.
And the other thing I would like to ask you is, how about Everest? I mean, this blew my mind.
So 2 years ago, a good friend of mine, Eve Napier, her and I went over to Nepal to do the Mustang Trail Ultra, which was a 110-mile ultra over 6 or 7 days, but it was incorporated with a bit of a tour. We were all runners. We were on the Mustang Trail, which is in one of the high regions of Nepal. It was absolutely stunning. Beautiful area, beautiful people, and I absolutely loved it. But the only downside was we didn't get to see Mount Everest. And for my 60th birthday present to myself, I entered the Mount Everest Marathon so I could go and see Everest. And I'm going in May this year, and the marathon is at the beginning of June. The trip is 3 weeks long. It includes a 2-week acclimatization hike up to Everest Base Camp. We have 2 nights of base camp before we run the 26.2 miles back down. And when I say down, there are a lot of ups as well. I think almost 2 miles from the end, there's a 500-meter climb. And of course, we are at altitude. And I understand that there are oxygen tanks at every aid station. So it's going to be an interesting one. But if I can do it in under 10 hours, which seems like a reasonable time for the altitude and the terrain, I'll be a very happy person.
I am extremely jealous because I did mention this to my husband, who just shook his head and said no. But I think that I can make that on my bucket list for my 60th now. So you've inspired me, Nikki. What I was going to say is, this is an important part of the subject. How do female runners stay safe?
Now, this is an interesting one. I am extremely privileged because we live in Somerset, we live in the country, and I do a lot of my running with my dog. And I have never, ever been threatened when I've been out running, but I'm in a lot of community groups on Facebook where girls have been catcalled, they've had cars trying to mow them down, and there've been recently a couple of girls murdered while out running on the trails, which is absolutely horrific. So if I was living somewhere in a city or whatever, I would probably take one of these alarms with me.
Yeah.
You should always have your tracker on your phone on. And I think you should always tell someone at home where you're going and tell them roughly how long you're going to be, give them a rough idea of your route so that if you're not home in time, they can actually track you down. Most of us wear Garmin watches that can be tracked as well. And I think that we really do need to start thinking about safety.
I think the other thing as well, especially with like your clothing, and some of the trails I say go on in the Lake District, it's very easy just to fall down a little bit of an area. With your clothing, I think it's good that you can actually be seen a bit as well.
And this is something we always make a bit of a joke of, but it is actually a serious thing. I always say to someone, if you're up on the mountains, they're going to find you. We also do a reflective range, which we sell. We do have it online now, but we sell a lot of it in the winter. So if you are running in the dark, it's a black range, but it's got little speckles of silver. And my goodness me, when a car's headlights or a torch hits you, you shine up like a beacon. It's very bright. So that's proving to be very popular. We run an award with that with the Women's Running magazine this year. We got best reflective product. So it is a product that does stand out.
And I think that's lovely to hear that you are getting recognised by well-established people like Women's Running, because, you know, all that hard work that you and the lovely Alf over there, who's not drawn the short straw today, you know, you've put in so much effort, and to get that recognition, it must feel good.
It's lovely. We launched the company January 2019, and every single year since launch, we have won an award with Women's Running, whether it's been best product, most reflective, best hoodie. And I think it was 2 years ago, we won best product of the year. And it was so funny when the magazine came out, because it said we would like to congratulate the runners-up Nike. And that really made me very happy.
The other thing is that your clothing has brought so much joy to people in very difficult circumstances, going through like difficult health crisis themselves. You know, just tell me a few of the people who it's helped.
So we've got a customer called Jenny, and Jenny had breast cancer, and she had a double mastectomy, and she's chosen not to have the implants put in. And she was very, very self-conscious about, you know, running and wearing crop tops and what have you. And she was introduced to Flanci through a friend of hers who said, you know, Jenny, you really need to start running again and getting out there and get your confidence back. And she was introduced to Flanci. She only wears Flanci now.
After I had all the treatment and the chemo, I'd lost my hair, I'd had surgery. I didn't feel quite girly like I would have done otherwise. And then I was introduced to Flanci for a friend. And as I say, the rest is history. And I found the love for the colour of the skirts. She would always come in skirts and shorts and bright colours, and it just gave me back something. And now I'm kind of like known as the skirt girl that's sort of running around park run or doing crazy things, and I'm always in an outfit with my Flanci on. It was the community as well. I joined the Fancy community Facebook group, and the group there is just incredible. You can ask any question, whether it's clothing related or personal related, and everyone supports everybody else. I've now gotten a full attire of Fancy clothing, which I absolutely love. So different ones for different types of running or wherever I'm based or whatever I'm doing. I encourage other people now, and it's just that break from black. And it has just gave me the just sort of colour back into my life again.
Well, Jenny, I think from me, you are a true inspiration. What a wonderful lady. I mean, that must really make you feel warm to your heart that you're doing more than what you probably even set out to do when you first started.
We get so many emails into the office thanking us for the products that we're making and the little stories behind them. And it makes both of us so happy. To get emails coming in, you know, thanking us, it's just amazing, and it makes everything worthwhile.
You have got the most wonderful range of activewear, But are there any other new products that you're looking at developing now?
There are. Through Crufts, we have got so many customers now that are dog lovers that we keep being asked to make waterproof dog coats so that the customers can match their leggings and their dogs together. So we're actually developing a waterproof dog coat. And believe it or not, the dog groomers, the dog grooming tunics that they wear have to be waterproof, and they also have to the fur has to brush off. And all the ones currently on the market are apparently very, very dull, boring and plain. And we've been asked to produce colourful dog groomers tunics. So again, that is another product that we are working on. And believe it or not, we are going to be launching a product called the Dallas range, which is primarily black. And it's for those who aren't bold enough yet to step into colour, but want to wear flanci because they know that our products are good quality. So we are launching a dull black range.
Oh, how could you?
I know, it's very, very small. It's just a few hoodies, and we actually do have some customers who are PE teachers and they have to wear black. So it will help them as well, where they want to wear flanci but don't have the choice at the moment.
I would imagine also, I've had this with my little running tribe, who I love to keep mentioning every now and again, and they, when they're first starting their running journey, they want to hide away a bit. They don't want to be that visible.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe the confidence thing coming through, isn't it?
It is. And that's why, for example, the dog paws that I don't know if the camera can see it, but on the table, they are bright, but they are not as bright as some of our other designs. So it is for those who are trying just to break into colour with a little bit of confidence, but who aren't quite there ready to go bright and bold.
You obviously have a website with all your wonderful products on, but do you do any shops or retail anywhere? Is that maybe something you're going to go into? Or?
We have retailed in shops before, mainly small independent shops. We would love to break into big retail. So if anyone's watching or listening that would like to stock our stuff, that would be amazing. We are primarily online though, and our website is www.fancyactivewear.co.uk if anyone's interested. We do events. We are at the National Running Show. We do Crufts, and we do a few other smaller, mainly running events as well that we are at.
And when you sat in that garden shed, did you ever imagine it was going to come to this?
We absolutely did not, because it did start in the lounge, but when your lounge is taken over by Lycra and then it's in the bedrooms, the office, the dining room, and then onto the kitchen work surfaces, we did put up this wooden garden shed, but very, very quickly we had to hire a container which went into 2 containers, and then whipping back and forth home to the containers became ridiculous. And we need a warehouse. And so we now have a warehouse and office, which is wonderful because at the end of the day, we can lock the door and go home.
And, I have just touched on Alf, bless him, over there. But, how important is it to have a partner who is totally 100% behind what you do?
I could not do this on my own. Alf does all the boring stuff in the background. He deals with suppliers. He does all the bills. He reins me in because I say, let's do this, let's do that, let's do that, and spend lots of money. And he's the one that reins me in, and I absolutely need that. I could not do this on my own. I think you need to have 2 of you passionate about it. Otherwise, it would just be impossible.
And are there any requests from people when they say, oh, can you make this and can you make that? And you scratch your head and you think, either I can't and I won't, or oh, let's.
All the time. We had a couple of requests to Crufts actually. We make these great big coats that we call them huggle robes, and they're these sort of robes that people wear when they do outdoor swimming. The great big fleece lined oversized jackets. We had a lady come on saying, I absolutely love them, but I don't want any fleece in it. I just want it as a raincoat. So that was one that came in, and we're always having all sorts of silly requests. People saying, oh, I like this, but can I have the pattern on the reverse, or can I have a plain top and a colourful under, or can I have that pattern here and that pattern there, and can I have the arms 10 centimetres longer and the legs 20 centimetres shorter? And we try and accommodate where we can, but there is coming a time now where we're having to draw the line and say, no, we can't do it anymore.
I've noticed that there is a lot for women. Is there a men's range yet?
Actually, everything is unisex.
Yeah.
We do double layer shorts, which are more popular for the men. So it's like a spandex fitted ladies short, but with a baggy plain black layer over. And we do the jazzy shorts, which are again a baggy colourful over short with a plain spandex short inside. All of our hoodies are popular with the men, and we do a men's range of men's fitted running twicked t-shirts. But yeah, everything's popular with everybody.
The other thing is, because I know I've run in them, they are stretchy, they are comfortable, and I believe they're like moisture wicking, so they're good, supportive pants that I was wearing. How important is it to get that good technical ability in your wear?
It's very important because we've got a lot of ultramarathon runners and runners of any sort wearing our kit, and the things they're looking for is pockets. So we've got 2 thigh pockets and a zipped back pocket on every product. People want breathability. It is breathable. It's polyester. They want a draw cord. We have a draw cord in there. With our new range, which is our lighter weight range, it is not as forgiving, which means that the patterns are bolder and more beautiful. They're slightly more compressive, but for comfort, they are absolutely amazing. And so much so that I've just removed the draw cords from all of my new lighter weight kit. Don't need it at all. The shape of the waistband fits perfectly over people's mum tums. And they just sit so well that you don't need the draw cord anymore, but a lot of people want it there purely for confidence, so it is there as well.
I would imagine that people are really inspiring to you too, for like when they say, oh, it would be really great if we could have this feature within a product. So I suppose that's really quite good for you. For instance, I would imagine that these are really good for holiday.
Exactly. Our skirts are very, very popular on holiday. And we've got one design in particular called Santorini, which was designed with the island in mind. And so many people wear our skirts on holiday. Because again, if you're going for a walk along the beach, you're getting splashed by waves. You don't have to go and get changed into something dry. You can just sit in the sun for a few minutes, you're bone dry, and then pop out for your glass of wine and your lunch.
That sounds absolutely fantastic. Nikki, you are such an inspiring lady, inspiring with running, inspiring as an entrepreneur. And I can only thank you for coming in and sharing your journey and continuing to be such an inspiration. So thank you very much. And I hope that we'll have you back here in the future talking about your Everest adventure and what your other products will be, because I think you're going to go from strength to strength.
Thank you, and it's been a pleasure.